fourth graders, Mrs. Somick here, and we are starting on day 2 of our unit of study on understanding scientific texts. Now, we talked a lot about what do I mean by scientific texts? And yesterday, I had you guys write down some academic vocabulary words and also those definitions. If you did not get a chance to do that yesterday, please make sure you get out those reading notebooks and you copy those notes down. So at the top, we had our topic here on scientific texts. What is a scientific text? It's a piece of text that explains how or why something happens. So when we looked at how and why, we also focused on causes and effects. Well, what do I mean by the cause? The cause is something that brings about an effect or a result. So we started using those words. Causes usually start off with because. Remember yesterday we said because of the heat from the sun's light, what was going to happen? The ice was going to melt. And that is our effect, something that happens as a result of something else. Now, the events, we worked deeply yesterday on the events that led to fossils forming. And these events are things that happen in our stories or in our texts and also in the natural world. Okay. We're focused on the scientific side, so we're focusing on the natural world side of things. If you need to pause just to copy these vocabulary words down, please do so. Otherwise, let's get today's lesson started here. All right. So I have a science article here, and the title of the article is called The Powerful Rock. Okay. So let's just go ahead and take a look here and make some predictions about what we think we're going to be reading about. A powerful rock, and then look at this photograph here. A good reader is going to ask themselves, what do you think I'm going to read about? What do you think this article is all about? Obviously some kind of rock, right? Okay. I wonder why rock would be powerful. Now, if I've taken the time to make some predictions about what I'm thinking about, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to read through it all the way through, and I'm going to check my understanding. I need to know who and what was this whole article about. Now, am I only going to read it once? No, because a good reader is also going to read through it again, and we're going to pull out different causes and effects. And we're going to be looking for those causes and effects to fill in with our graphic organizer later on. All right, so friends, what we need to do is let's go ahead and get started on paragraph 1. I'm going to read it aloud to you, and I want you simply to follow along. All right, here we go. Coal may look like an ordinary black rock, but inside, it contains powerful energy that can be used for heat and electricity. Coal is made from plant matter, and that was buried far below the Earth's surface for millions of years. Being buried so deeply and for so long put the plant matter under intense heat and pressure. The heat and pressure caused the chemical and physical characteristics of the plant matter to change. Eventually, the plant matter turned into coal. Coal must be mined or dug up from below the ground. After it is mined, the coal travels to a machine that cleans it. This process removes dirt, rocks, and other unwanted materials. Next, heavy machines crush the coal until it becomes a fine powder. Finally, the coal is burned to make steam. Special machines called turbines use this steam to create electricity. Today, generators fueled by coal supply much of the world's energy. But the processes used to mine coal and convert it into fuel can pollute our air, land, and water. When coal is burned, harmful chemicals are released into the air. These chemicals get carried through the air by the wind and fall in the raindrops. This is called acid rain. It can make plants and animals very sick. Engineers are developing new technologies to reduce the potential air pollution from coal. These promising solutions may help us get the most from this powerful rock while protecting our precious planet. All right, so we've read it all the way through here, okay? Let's stop and check our understanding just with that first read through. All right, so first of all, I need to ask myself, we know it's about coal, but what do we use coal for? Go back. What do we use coal for? Do you remember? All right, let's take a look at my answer here. We use coal to produce heat and electricity, and that can be found right here in that second sentence using that text evidence there. Now, where was coal found in nature? Can you go back and find what it talks about somewhere in paragraph 1? Where can I find it? Look right here It is not just under the surface, but it's buried far below Earth's surface, right? So below the Earth's surface. All right, well, we also were introduced to some problems. Yes, coal is a powerful rock, but there's some problems. If we look back here, look in paragraph 3. What were the problems that burning coal can cause? When coal is burned, what happens? Harmful chemicals are released into the air, right? All right, let's see what our answer is. So we know it can cause pollution. Pollution not just in the air, but also in the land and water. So we have a good understanding of what we've read about what coal's for, where I can find it, and some problems that we have with burning and mining coal for the environment. But we're not done understanding because we're going to use our close reader habits here. Now, as I go through this the second time, let's mark up our text. All right, so I'm going to go grab my pen here, and I'm going to do my very best to try to make sure I mark up my text nicely for you guys. So as I'm reading, we're going to look through. Help me out here. We need to circle details that describe how coal forms, but then we're also going to underline details that explains its uses. So how it forms and what are its uses. All right, so help me out here. Let's get started. Coal may look like an ordinary black rock, but inside it contains powerful energy that can be used, I hear a word, for heat and electricity. So what are we going to do for its uses? We're going to underline that. It can be used for heat and electricity, okay? Coal is made from plant matter that was buried far below the Earth's surface for millions of years. Well, that describes how it forms, right? How does it form? So I'm going to circle this one. It forms from plant matter, right? And where's that plant matter found? It's buried far below Earth's surface. So I've circled those two details there, right? All right, let's keep going. Being buried so deeply and for so long put the plant matter under intense heat and pressure. The heat and pressure caused the chemical and physical characteristics of the plant matter to change. So is that a detail about its use or about how coal will actually form? That's a detail about how it is actually formed. So it's formed under intense heat and pressure. And what does that heat and pressure do? It causes a chemical and physical change to the plant matter. So we're going to circle that other detail. And so eventually, what happens to the plant under that intense heat and pressure and those changes? It is turned into coal. Okay, so we have a use and we have this process they explain to us with all those details of how coal was actually formed. All right, let's see if we can find some more uses then. You ready? Let's go to paragraph 2. Coal must be mined or dug up from below the ground. After it is mined, the coal travels to a machine that cleans it up. This process removes the dirt, rocks, and other unwanted materials. Next, heavy machines crush the coal until it becomes a fine powder. Finally, the coal is burned to make steam. Special machines called turbines use this steam to create electricity. I hear some uses here. What are some of those uses we just found? What is the coal used for? It is burned to create what? It's burned to create steam. But why do we care about the steam? You're right. We use this steam to create what? What are we creating? Electricity. Good job. All right, let's wrap this up and see if we can find one more use for coal. Today's generators fueled by coal supply much of the world's energy. But the processes used to mine coal and convert it into fuel can pollute our air, land, and water. When coal is burned, harmful chemicals are released into the air. These chemicals get carried through the air by wind and fall in the raindrops. This is called acid rain. It can make plants and animals very sick. So, what else? Besides these little turbines and the steam, what else does coal help? Generators, right? We use our generators and it's fueled by coal, and that supplies much of the world's energy. Good job. Let's just wrap this up as we go on to the next step here. Engineers are developing new technologies to reduce the potential air pollution from coal. These promising solutions may help us get the most from this powerful rock while protecting our precious planet. So, our second time through, we've marked up our text. We circled all the details here that explain how the coal is formed, and also we underlined our details explaining, though, how the uses of coal. Okay, let's keep going. So, this graphic organizer is what you're going to be doing here, friends, as we go and open up our lesson for today. Okay, when you go into your Google Classroom. We talked yesterday about what happens and how and why it happens, right? So, those causes and effects we discussed yesterday. And this is a very similar chart that we worked with. Now, we're going to complete this chart by adding the descriptions of what's happening here. Okay, let's look at the first one. So it says plant matter from millions of years ago is changed into coal. We learned about that, all right, in that very first paragraph. Now, how and why does that happen? Those were those details we circled. So let me go back and I'm going to reread that first paragraph to you one more time. Coal may look like an ordinary black rock, but inside it contains powerful energy that can be used for heat and electricity. Coal is made from plant matter that is buried far below the Earth's surface for millions of years. Being buried so deeply and for so long put plant matter under intense heat and pressure. The heat and pressure caused the chemical and physical characteristics of the plant matter to change. Eventually, the plant matter turned into coal. So, how does it turn into coal? What did I just read to you? Remember, it's got to be buried. And when it's buried for so long, it's under what? Intense heat and pressure. And that's going to cause a physical and chemical change. So let's take a look at what we have here. The heat and pressure from being buried made the plant matter change. And this chemical and physical characteristics change, turning it into coal, making it coal. Okay? Now, this is the second part. I really want you guys to work hard. If you've got someone close by that can help you out, that's great. In the first statement here, I've given you basically how, okay, coal is used to produce energy that creates electricity, okay? But I've got to figure out what happens so it can produce that energy. What has to happen in order to produce energy? I can't just poof coal right out of the air. What do we have to do? Do you remember what we do with the coal? It's buried under the ground, so what do we have to do? Come on, you Minecrafters, you know what to do. You got to mine it up, right? Okay. So the coal is mined and then it's burned into steam. Remember, those turbines use that steam to then make that energy. All right. Now, as we wrapped up our article today, we talked about, coal's great, but it also harms the environment. That is what was happening at the end. But why? Why does it harm our environment? Why does it harm it? There's something when you mine or burn it, it releases. What does it release? Pollution, right? And pollution is never good for our environment. Okay, so the mining and the burning of coal, it creates pollution. Remember, it pollutes not only just the air, but also the land and the water. Okay, so again, if you need to come back to this graphic organizer to help you with today's lesson, okay, on your exit slip, you can. Please do. Now, let's just think about this. Let's taco about it here for just a second. Let's talk about what we read about. We read about a powerful rock. Now, why do we describe coal as being a powerful rock? Does it have superpowers? Does it fly around? No. Well, why is it powerful? Yeah, it's powerful because it's used to create energy. Remember what we said? It's used to create heat and electricity. That's pretty powerful. Now, there's a benefit, okay, for using coal. What were some of those benefits? We had a few in there. What were a few of the benefits for coal? Okay. It creates electricity, right? We can use it to create electricity. We can use it for a source of heat. Those are two great benefits. But there's a problem. What is the problem? What happens when we use coal? It causes pollution, right? Okay. Another problem also is that it's not only polluting the air, okay, it's also polluting the land and the water. that pollution can get up in the air and come down in the form of what? Remember we said when it rains and there's pollution in those droplets? Acid rain. And that is very harmful to plants and animals for sure. All right. So for today, this is going to lead you into your assignment, your exit slip. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull that up for us very quickly, and let's take a look at it today. Okay. Now, I have given you a copy of this article in your Google Classroom. So if you want to print it out, if that helps you, great. Or you can just go back to the video. That is fine. This is the graphic organizer that we just went through. Remember, we talked about what was happening. Plant matter from millions of years ago changed into coal. Talk to me. How does that happen? How does the plant matter turn into coal? That is what you're typing in here. Now, I know that coal is used to produce energy that creates electricity, but what has to happen? Remember, Minecrafters, what do we have to do with that coal in order for us to be able to get to that powerful energy? Okay. Last one, we also learned that what's happening? Well, coal is unfortunately harming our environment, but why? Talk to me here about that. All right, so go back to the lesson if you need help with your chart. Last thing, you're simply typing in a response, a nice paragraph about what we talked about. I've given you some sentence starters to help out, so you should have at least 3 sentences, and I've even started the sentences for you. So you're going to type in your response right here. People process and use coal by what? How do we use coal? Give me a benefit of using coal. Give me a problem for using coal. And type, please, in complete sentences in your response right there. When you're finished, friends, make sure you turn it in and you mark it as done. And I can't wait to read through your responses today. I hope you found some interesting facts in learning about this powerful rock that we call coal as we continue examining our scientific text and looking at causes and effects of that natural world around us. All right, well, stay tuned. Until next time.